Oh, hey buddy, what you doing over there? He's just hanging out with the mushrooms. He's lost in the sauce. Hello. Considering how much overlap I've seen in my fan base, a lot of you are probably aware of Soluna's Superconduct video he made a few months back, where he brought to light that Superconduct was also one of the reactions that got buffed going into 5.2, and while its damage still isn't enough to warrant building a team around, it still is very usable. So a lot of his teams in that video focused around doing a mix of talent damage and superconduct damage. And I mean, I don't really blame him, because it is a nightmare to make a team focused around superconduct damage. But since that video came out, I've had a little itch in my brain. I want to make a team that does almost solely focus on superconduct damage. First off, you need to be thinking about getting your res shred. Transformative reaction damage is affected by elemental resistance, so you're gonna need to get a cryo res shredder. Yes, there is the new obvious girl in the room, but by including an electro unit to trigger your superconducts, she's already going from 55 to 15 res shred. And she also brings a lot of talent damage, which is kind of what I was looking to avoid. When it comes to other transformative reactions that you would build a team around, superconduct kind of has it the worst, not only in damage, but in terms of setup as well. Other big damaging reactions, like of course Hyper Bloom, and to some extent even now Overload, they don't rely on VV to get their res shred. Hyper Bloom achieves it through Deepwood, which is very easy to trigger reliably as long as you have a unit on your team holding it. And of course Overload gets it out of Chevreuse. Deepwood and Chevreuse bypass the need to do complicated setups to get the correct res shred of your element. And yes, Soluna does exist, but in teams that are trying to get their damage out of transformative reactions, animo units that can trigger swirls, which can trigger further reactions, and also many of whom have a little bit of grouping, tend to perform a little bit better. AoE reaction spam teams are kind of where animo units' strengths come out the most. Which brings us to the last of the transformative reactions in Electrocharge. Those teams are more talent damage focused, but even so, it is very easy to get both your Hydro and Electro swirls in those teams. Because Hydro and Electro can exist on enemies at the same time, you're able to get two swirls on both elements at the same time, and the aura on your enemy changes so much that even if you're not trying to do it, you often end up getting both swirls just by spamming. And so Superconduct is the odd one out. The only two units who can shred Cryo Res that aren't animo units are Shilonen and Escoffier, who I don't really like either of them because of the aforementioned reasons. Animo works better with reaction spam than Shilonen does, and Escoffier kind of turns it into an Escoffier team instead of a Superconduct team. Another issue with Superconduct teams is that it's very hard to have a consistent trigger. This again goes back to the fact that Animos are by far the best res shredders for superconduct teams. The convenience of Chevreuse isn't only in the fact that she res shreds from off-field, it's the fact that she doesn't mess with your application to res shred. Animo units with their swirls spread the element around and change the strength of the aura. It's a very similar problem that Electrocharge teams have, and that's why Electrocharge teams don't really focus on reaction damage. It's mainly talent damage. The only unit getting consistent high damage Electrocharges is your on-field animo unit, and that's only if you're actually using an on-field animo unit. So all these problems together make Superconduct a very hard reaction to work with that isn't particularly rewarding. That being said, I just can't let go of the synergy between Ororon and Citlali. Superconduct is an AoE reaction, and these are both two units that have good AoE application. Also, like, Weird Cringe Granny and Weird Cringe Grandson. This is coming straight from the Soluna video. This is one of those weird, surprisingly functional combos, but you still have the weird difficulty of not having a consistent trigger in this team. So what did I do to fix it? I just made everyone a trigger. Let me start off by saying, this team is still not good. It is still a superconduct reaction team. It's fine, it functions. It actually is really good in AoE. But like any swirl team is really good in AoE. But this is what I found to be maybe not the best superconduct damage team, but the most fun by far. Everybody, make way for the return of TF Kazuha. Realistically, you still can do VV on Kazuha, and it's probably better. This is kind of a quick swap spammy team. There isn't a real rotation that I found. It's just kind of figure out what's on cooldown and then throw it out. VV on Kazuha will give you a better chance of having high uptime on your Cryo Res Shred, or even Res Shred on Cryo in the first place. Even though I think this is a fairly consistent way of getting your Cryo Res Shred up, it still has that baseline inconsistency that I think all Superconduct teams do. But frankly, I saw the opportunity to put Kazuha on TF, and I put Kazuha on TF. Anyways, this sort of solves our issue of not having a consistent trigger in Superconduct teams. Not by having a setup where only one character is triggering the Superconducts, but by building the team so that 3 out of 4 characters are full EM. Auron is the only one that's on a normal talent damage build here. And realistically, you could replace him with like Fischl or maybe Beto. You don't end up doing a lot of normal charge attacks. Maybe you could do some on-field Seatlali stuff or on-field Sucrose stuff to fix that, but I found that Auron has the best off-field AoE Electro application. On-fielders, you could potentially go like Chlorand or Varesa. Could do weird Sara stuff if this team wasn't awful enough. Anyways, let's just get into it. I'm gonna see if I can break my record on this thing. I tried on a stream and I couldn't do it, but I think I've tuned my builds in a way where I might be able to. You're gonna see here, this team doesn't really have a set rotation. A lot of it is just learning to feel it out, knowing when your stuff is off cooldown and spamming it. It's more relying on the grouping and flexible application that Kazuha and Sucrose provide. So whatever elements their bursts absorb, I can focus on getting the other element out and getting a lot of Superconducts. And while this team doesn't get much single target damage at all, you can see the AoE is actually really, really strong. I find this to be a really, really fun AoE team. Technically, this is possible with like Electrocharge or Overload. Probably better with Overload, but I like the flavor that this one provides. It really just kind of kills my speedrun potential when there's just one guy left at the end of the round and I have to slowly kill him. And you can see how much worse this team gets in single target. There we go. Oh, I guess I can actually talk about my gear. See, I already showed off TF Kazuha. Probably the least necessary here. You might be able to do a lot better with VV, but it's funny, so I'm doing it. I went Zyphos. This is a surprisingly energy-hungry team. So in my situation, because I only have R1 Zyphos, Fav would probably be better. So this is a pretty suboptimal Kazuha build even for this team, but it's funny, so cry about it. See, Lali is probably the most important here. I find sack frags to be basically necessary. Gets you some extra application, gets you some more Night Soul, so you have higher uptime on her little ghosty, swirly field thing that applies cryo. And because that's Night Soul aligned damage, we're triggering Auron here. So that's a really important aspect of this team. You want to have her application up as much as you can, and Sack Frags helps a lot while giving her some nice EM. For her artifacts, I am on Gilded. I tried a variant with Instructor. That's probably better, but Gilded is a lot comfier. Get a big strong shield, and she triggers a fair amount of reactions, so whoop-de-doo. I actually have an ER Sans. You could probably get away with an EM if you had higher substats on your Gilded pieces, but I don't. My Gilded pieces are pretty bad. I gotta get back in that domain. With the inclusion of Sack Frags, her energy needs go down a fair bit, and you can probably survive at around the 140 range. Very achievable through substats. I have Auron on Fav again to help with energy. He's not getting a ton of talent damage in this team. It's not nothing. He's on Scroll. There might be a better damaging set for him, but considering he's such a small part of the team's damage, I just leave him on this because it's fine for his damage. No one else is benefiting from it. It's just him. And of course that leaves Sucrose as our VV holder, who she's also on Sack Frags. I think the double Sack Frag version of this team functions the best. It is the most quick swappy. You get the highest uptime on two of what turn out to be your most important units on the team. Sackfrogs is less important if you have Kazuo on VV as well. I mean, I think people know this is basically Sucrose's signature weapon. Fruit of Fulfillment is a functional craftable if you don't have 2 Sackfrags. But if you have only 1 R5 or 2 lower refinement ones, I'd give your higher refinement to Seatlali. Seatlali's skill does have multiple hits and it does have a higher chance to proc the skill reset, but the cooldown reduction on the skill reset is worth a lot on Seatlali. Sucrose, especially if you have her C1, she can go without the skill reset. She can rely on her normals and her burst to get swirls, but the skill is great for its immediate damage and grouping. But if you somehow have 2 R5 Sackfrags like I do, I think that's what makes this team function the best. Anyways, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Hoyo refuses to put AoE content in floor 12, but with Venti on the last banner, we've got our infamous 60 guy chamber going on here. Oh yeah, I don't know how I forgot to mention, there is no defensive utility in this team outside of Seatlali's shield, but if you really want a healer, you could put Sucrose on Prototype Amber, or I don't know, go Sayu or Jean. But I find quick swap teams are a little more resilient to damage because each individual unit spends such little time on field, so it's harder for anyone to die. So in my experience, the Seatlali shield has been enough. Anyways, let's go.
Let's hope you'll put up a good fight.
Time to say hello. Not too far now.
No, I missed.
Show me your move.
Let's hope you'll put up a good fight.
This was new.
Just keep missing my my skill.
Go. You're free now.
How long was that? I mean, I know that's floor 11, but I whiffed like half my skills and my burst didn't work, and I still did... Oh, never mind, it's not a time chamber. This chamber is also less relevant, but it's cool that none of these slimes are immune to my elements. Oh, now it's an overload team. The spawning pattern does make it a little weird on these guys. Ah, but because we're not using Fischl, we are not Circle Impact. Oh, come on. These Pyro Slimes actually are messing me up. Ooh. Was that... Did I see 11,000 damage on Seatlali's skill tick? I need to check her crit stats after this. Alright, this is the real test. And we get... Should I do the Elemental Mastery boost? I won't. People are gonna tell me that the card carried me. Wee.
Time to say hello. Farewell.
Oh, I didn't do this. I just jump canceled on Seatlali because I'm so used to doing it on Sucrose. Oh, they died before I could skill him. Who's left? It's just you? Okay, a minute 10. That's not bad. Could have done better. And I can do better. I forgot. I can just retry the floor as much as I want. Oh no, and I'm not choosing the card. I have too much ER on Seatlali now. I could probably sacrifice a bit. Come on, Seatlali. Ah! Oh, I've already gone below. Let me retry. Let me see if I can get below a minute. That will be impressive. I can't let the bow guys get away. Oh, I just ruined it. I suppose I could talk about that. There's a thing about Seatlali I actually learned while I was playing this team. If her skill is active, like you're in the kind of, what is it called? Ice wind? It's like blizzard state or something. When it's applying cryo and you do another skill or burst that raises your night soul, what is her cap? is it 50 that she begins to apply cryo? If that skill or burst doesn't raise her Night Soul above 50, it turns off her skill. It stops applying cryo. So you either want to be sure that that one skill or burst will bring you above the threshold and will make her start applying cryo again, or you want to wait until she's out of the state so that she wouldn't be applying anyways. Oh wait, I was talking and I think I actually got a new record. How long was that? No, it was still over a minute. We're gonna start off with this. And I don't actually, I'm wasting a little bit of time by trying to catch energy on her. But I really don't need to. Because she's kind of overcapped on energy now. I just thought I had Kazuha C1 for a second there. No idea why. Never played a Kazuha with C1 in my life. Oh, come on! Let's go. Under a minute. Under a minute for those 60 guys. If you want to do a Superconduct team that does floor 12, you're gonna have to do one of the more talent damage focused ones. But evidently, Superconduct is a very, very good AoE reaction, and as long as Hoyo actually puts AoE content in the game, it can kind of be viable. Hope you enjoyed this one. Have a lovely day.